That's a well-worn 4Runner. What's up? Smell it.
Hey, what's happening? It's Justin again with Off-Road.com. This video is from Carnage Canyon, popularly referred to as Carnage, in the 4-mile trail area near Buena Vista, Colorado. This is a part of the Central Colorado spinal set of peaks. They're referred to as the Collegiate Peaks. This trail is on the backside of Chinaman's Gulch, like I said, not too far from Buena Vista. Really quick, you're going to watch and say, wow, this trail's radical, and this is just the beginning. It gets narrower, steeper, trippier, rockier. Good stuff. This is a, like I mentioned, this is a 5/5 trail. This is about as bad as it gets. This is up there with Panamint out of Death Valley. This is up there with, and it's tougher than other Colorado fixtures like Iron Chest and Holy Cross, Chinaman's, I mentioned a moment ago, in the same area. Chinaman's is actually the return loop for this trail. Number of buggies going through here. We'll name them as we can. In the back, this is Corey Papa Region's 90s pickup. It's been de-bedded and obviously SAS'd. Couldn't tell you what kind of axles they were. His tires weren't in the best of shape at the beginning of this run. He won the Goodyears that I was giving away at the end of the run. You know it's bad when someone wins the Goodyears, because I was still working for Goodyear at the time. He won 5 Goodyear, took 5 Kevlar MTRs. It was like $500 a corner plus a spare. He did all right on that. I think he put about $200 into the raffle and came out with a set of tires. This rig right here is actually a bobbed 4Runner owned by Russell Battles, I believe out of Grand Junction at the time. This video was shot a couple years back. A lot of these rigs probably don't even look this way. If I recall correctly, he finished. I know I've got shots of him a good ways up. I can't remember if he finished off the top of my head. Most of these rigs had some problems. This right here is Phil Rogers' 85 pickup. This thing was on its second cab, its third bed. He hurt it so badly on this run. By the end of it, the dash, he'd bent the dash, he bent everything. It was you'll hear throughout the video him fighting with that car. The thing flooded out so badly, it was drowning in fuel. It was like, when he went by, it was like standing next to an oil rig in Libya. It was just, so much fuel. This 4Runner right here, I'll tell you more about at some point. This was Aaron Elson's 84, really well thought out rig. This right here, 85 4Runner belonging to a gentleman named Bear. I can't remember his last name. This one suffered the worst by far out of all the rigs on this trail. He was already abused. By the time the end of the run, he spit the drive shaft in the front a couple times, blew up his front diff. that high lift that he has in the front. After nearly decapitating a few folks, he bented it like a pretzel. You got a lot of folks that argue against the high lift these days. People are addicted to them, and they do work if you got good frame points. But a lot of folks like a bottle jack or a balloon jack, especially if you can do, if you have air pressure to throw at it. The
You're hung up, centered.
balloon jack
Dips
is
on a rock.
certainly more stable.
Choose a side, any side.
But it's a preference thing, and it's what you're used to working with. High lifts are certainly prone to flipping.
By the looks of it, everybody's diff finds that rock.
Saw the Jeep at the front of the trail. We'll see it again. That's Aaron's little brother, Eric Elson. Can't remember the year of the Wrangler. This is them trying to get the fuel out of the Rodgers pickup.
Go get it, go get it.
The brown dog, the dark brown dog, wasn't a dumb dog, but damn thing kept running in front of folks all throughout. It would run in front of people, in front of the trucks. It never got run over there. You hear the owner yelling at it throughout the video. But it never got run over, so maybe it wasn't as dumb as it looked. There's Corey again in his de-bedded, bedless 90s pickup. Problem with a lot of these videos, everything's happening slow. So I had a little fun with the video. I don't know if you'd call this technique, but he seemed to have a particular disdain for that section of his frame. Corey can't pick the right line on this rock. You'll see later another truck nails it. 2 or 3 of the buggies do too. You note a lot of these crawlers, you say, why do you have a clutch in there? A lot of these guys like to crawl their trail rig on the starter. Works great as long as your battery's good, Corey. Nice job. He shook his head no. You're forget it. This is Jared Lvie, the most dented rig on this run. Started quite clean. Look at how straight the body panels are.
That was brass balls right there.
Here. Look at how unmolested.
Glasses.
This poor pickup is right here. Pardon me while I continue enjoying this fine winter cold. He made a very valiant effort of completely screwing up his pickup truck. You'll see later on, as I run out of video, that he flops this thing repeatedly. Now, you'll see once or twice I jiggle the camera while I'm shooting video. I'm also shooting still at the same time, so I've got the video camera in one hand while I'm shooting
what tires are they?
stills with the other hand. It, occasionally you can see when I switch hands.
I'm giving a shit away. Another one.
He had a hard time staying on this rock, what I gather from both these folks and others. Keeping the rig hung up is not as easy as one would expect. at this angle, tires or no tires, and brakes aren't going to do a whole lot to keep you up there. This rock was the size of a truck, and then some, maybe a large truck, a full size, a Super Duty. He just can't keep himself on there despite his best efforts. All these guys tended to stall out, which I found it wasn't me crawling, so it's hard to.
Jesus Christ!
It's hard to point fingers and give him crap when these are the only guys that went and did the run. You don't see my truck on this trail. I got a picture here of how we rescued him. The roof strapping trick works quite well on these guys, I found. That's Aaron Elson's truck going up the same obstacle. Now here, Bear's 85 4Runner takes the easy route around the route outside. He still had a functioning front diff at this point, and the decapitator high lift.
Clean.
This is his little brother, Eric Elson's Jeep. Does a really neat job. This is a line I would have chosen for my 4Runner. You get to have a good time hanging the truck on the rock on the left, letting the tires do their work, and pinioning it against the rear of the Jeep, the rear of the vehicle, while you essentially hang the front right, the passenger front out until it climbs up the ledge. He does a really nice job playing the angle of that rock below his passenger rear is making it hard to take the perfect angle. See how he's trying to claw it up that rock face. It's a neat line. This Jeep works really well, to its credit, especially showing up at a Toyota event. Apparently it was his father's. He bought it from his father? Is that how I got it? There was a story about how this Jeep got to him. So this line right here. Oh, so close. You'll note how it only takes a little bit of pressure or direction to get something like this to go where you want it to. You'll see right here, hung up at this point, he's stuck. Corey's giving him guidance. Eventually, Corey just... See, all it takes is a little bit of direction and a little bit of balance, and boom, you're on. Right there, clean, nice line. There's a couple rock buggies on trail with us. Before that, though, we have a early pickup. I didn't get the year on this one. Belonged to, oh, what was his name? Jason something. Saunders? I can't remember. There was two gents from Texas, this one included. There's one of the rock buggies. The rock buggy with all the lights on the roof came with him. They flipped this the night before, driving... Let's just say there was some unofficial rock crawling events going on the night previous, after extensive indulgence in libations. You can see right there, I was messing with the camera and the camera. Two cameras at once, not as easy as you think. But he hits the right line to get over this rock, which essentially is crawling straight and going hard passenger, so you avoid this pancake thing right at the face. But again, this Toyota getting balled up the night before they rolled through a fence and kick out the windshield this morning, which is actually the vacuuming you hear at the very beginning of this tape as everyone's pulling up. There's Aaron right there. This is the pinch point right here. Basically roll off the rock and have to go hard passenger without flopping. I have seen people climb over that rock, so they essentially have straddled this front axle stuffed on the driver's side, rear axle stuffed on the passenger side. I don't think the Toyota had the width to pull it off. On the plus side, this thing worked quite nicely, other than flopping a couple times. It was impressive how well it worked. Don't let its windshieldlessness fool you. two buggies that went on the trail. The Texas one, I'm not sure of its origin. Sound, I thought I recognized the motor when I heard it first. It sounded scatty, but I never confirmed that. The buggy behind him is a Toy Tech buggy, this sweet little narrow footprint Toy Tech rig. Just drove right over this rock. He did a sweet job. Now the buggies work, if you don't mind not having license plates on it.
Will it make you feel better, or is that the concussion talking?
There's a lot of other off-road in this area. You saw the mountain ridge. It appears behind the trees in this shot, and it was very visible in the background at the beginning. That was the row of 14ers, the Collegiate Peaks. Tons of trails up there. Not as radical as this, much more cool points of interest connected by 2/3 and 3/3 trails, or 2/5 and 3/5 trails. There you go. That's how you do that. Tamichi Pass, Hancock Pass, St. Elmo, the Alpine Railroad Grade. Here's that Toy Tech buggy that I was telling you about. This guy driving it, I didn't get his name. He just had a ball this entire run. Could not stop smiling. And if you listen, throughout the entire run, he's just laughing and smiling, and I mean, the thing looks like he screwed it together in his garage. It's 22R powered, RE, I assume. It just worked. Probably could tow it out there behind your 4Runner in the beast. I mean, it didn't weigh much. Lots of tire, lots of gearing, and it went heavy. And something was loosened. It always vibrated and had that rattling noise as it went by. Piece of tin. Doink. Here we go. Yeah, here's the other one. Corey had a pretty good eye for terrain, to his credit. Not the easiest guy to get along with. There's Jared's 91 pickup, by far the hero of the event, and rolling on the MTRs. Him and his buddies were so friendly. They, the whole way through, they were all chatty and offering me drinks, food. I had my girlfriend run up from the bottom of the trail. The trail's only a mile long, so she parked at the bottom of it at lunchtime and walked 200 yards up with my lunch. This is Aaron Elson's 84 4Runner. Very well dialed rig. Worked great on trail. To duly note the end of that pilot 2 or 3 times on this run, it hung people. Probably better than to bend to no longer on the front of his truck. This was a real sweet road buggy. Did not get enough time to look it over, figure out its combo. The guys from Texas were here. I don't think they were sober at any point during this entire week. You didn't hear here. Thing moved like a Jeep on tons does these days. Very capable.
Such a fun trail. And you're smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah, that smile was never off of his face the entire day. Carnage is a great trail. It is literally 1 mile long, and we were not done till 6 p.m. and we started at 8 a.m. Because every other obstacle is like this. This was a strange one. I didn't get a ton of tape of this. I basically stretched a 1 hour tape out. 1 hour data allotment out for the entire run, and just shot snippets like this. This was an obstacle where you had a tree and a hard series of rocks that were pumping water out. This is Colorado. Most of the mountainsides are hard rock, and one of the things you're almost guaranteed to get on a hard rock trail is water bleeding out from rock to rock, piled up under trees. These hard rock mountainsides have a lot of moisture in them, which is why most mines leak. The same reason. This is Aaron's little brother, Eric. Could not get a line on this. The holes have been dug out right at Jeep length. I believe the longer pickup, Jared Lvie's 91 pickup, the full-length pickup, did drive up this. I know the Buggies did. His tires, I didn't like the tires on this thing. This was there's Jared's pickup starting to come apart. That was the Battles bobbed 4Runner. This is another obstacle further up. You can see the fender now on this pickup. Longer shadows, you'll know we're into the afternoon now, but fender's dented, roof is dented, the bobbed rear tailgate is significantly torn up.
Where's your freaking cape?
Corey got friendlier as the
I
day
think his
went
truck's gonna
by.
need a cape after today.
Apparently,
Or some sort
Corey
of shroud.
was responsible for getting Jared's pickup, convincing Jared he could run Carnage. Might have been a better idea not to. For what it was, the pickup worked really well. It's just this trail was beyond a truck with full body panels. I don't think anybody with full body panels. Look at it, everything on that side is caved in at that point. I don't know how he still had glass at the end of the day, but everything on anything with a full body is going to get chewed up. That Aaron's 4Runner right here does not get more chewed up. Is mind blowing. Watch him work this section of rocks. The truck just worked great. A little bit of pressure in the back. Corey was doing this throughout the run. He'd just hold onto a tire or a bumper just to give you a little bit of weight to keep you from flopping. Aaron had really good truck management instincts. Look at this.
He's gonna touch. He's hitting the hood and fender, and now
He
he's
just
done.
rubs the hood and the fender on that rock just a touch. I believe that's an addicted front bumper. I believe it was Aaron that had to go home and rebuild his burr field the night before this run. I think the rear axle was still a 7-inch Toyota. I'm not sure what the front was. Now for the blown diff. When you hear that sound, folks, it's time for a new differential.
Front and just go two in the back.
And he couldn't non-op it. He couldn't turn it off. So here he's battling between his winch. Thank God he had a good winch on there. That winch got a lot of work. Because when your diff blows up halfway up Carnage, going back down isn't a terribly good option either.
Oh, gather up some cable.
At this point, the truck is literally wedged.
Man, I wouldn't get any more winch than that.
At that point, he's just turning tires and diff parts, grinding to powder that front diff. And we're getting towards the end of the trail. This is like a 40-degree incline. The bedless Toyota pickup at this point was hung up in the pinch that everybody got stuck in right here. Apparently this obstacle had been washed out pretty heavily, and this rock in front, in the foreground of this image, had been up in that gap until recently. So it got much harder when that rock moved. Everybody was bottoming out. They couldn't get the tire on the ground. You can see it right here. Same pinch point. A little bit of winch was enough. Corey had his front and rear had the winch running out of trailer hitches, front and rear. So he was really wise about it. He could pick the winch up, take it off. To the Jeep's credit, pulling Bear's 4Runner up the hill. Wanted to include that to give the Jeep its props. And again, here's the basically tunned out rock buggy, making short work of the obstacle everybody else had hung up in. The massive articulation really makes a difference. It's a couple of serious rock buggies that came up behind our group and kind of drove through it. One an FJ40 bodied crawler and another a CJ bodied crawler. I've got a photo of the FJ bodied crawler seriously twisted up as they passed through the group and ahead of our last vehicle, the 91 pickup, the silver pickup with the full body, and I believe there was one other that was with him. We'll see. Yeah, I think Corey was, no, not Corey, Aaron was at the very end. Aaron Elson was the last rookie to come up, who 84 4Runner, the magic 4Runner. See, there's the FJ based buggy. It was a sweet piece. Just drove right up the hill like nobody's business. But I was out of video at that point. Now, we asked Jared here to dig us some flower beds, and he happily obliged once he got his truck
Back
hung
down,
up
change your line.
on the rocks. Everybody was messing with him. Yeah, go start over. Go to the bottom, change your line, try it again. He was hung up dead center on that big rock. He'd gotten around it far enough, and then I either needed some more tire size, or if I recall correctly, he couldn't get a tire on the far bank, and so he was kind of teetering. And ironically, we had a strap on him, and whoever was pulling the strap kept pulling him over. And we kept thinking he was going to drive against the strap, and instead the strap, you'll see in a moment, flops him hard. I like his cutout doors.
Yep.
You see that a lot on Toyota, guys. Check your oil.
Oh, look at that thing just guzzling out.
It's your watch right here. Strap. We thought we were going to pull him straight up.
I'm not supposed to do that. Ah, crap.
And the strap just kept tugging him over. Even Aaron's 84 needed a little tug here. This pinch was tough on everybody, including a bug like this, buggy like this. This 4Runner did almost everything well on this trail.
There goes.
Yeah, see, there you go, Toyota. That's the Toyota 7.5-inch diff right there. And this is about the end of it. Thanks for joining us. Catch us again on Off-Road.com. We got more videos coming. I'm Justin Ford.
Punch it.
Pretty much.